What's up, YouTube? Good morning. It's your girl Nick coming to you with the season 2, episode number 3, the Dirty Dozen review of P Valley. Coming to y'all a little different today. I decided to do it like a brunch slash breakfast. It is looking real chocolate around here because we're having chocolate chip Eggos and some coffee. Oh, by the way, these K-Cups I use is from Target. It's called Toasted Almond something. It's really good. It's like a light. If you don't like dark coffees, you like a light coffee. It's a good one. Check it out. But into the video. So we start the episode off with we see Roulette in the red room now, and she's dancing under that swinging pendulum pole for this guy, and he's all like she dancing real sexy, of course, but he's all like she has a mask on while she has a scarf tied around her face. And he's like he wanted to see what her face looked like or whatever. And she said, "You drop a stack, I'll take my mask off." And so that's what he does. He he drops a stack. She takes off the mask. He looks at her and said, "Ooh, you got them DSLs, them DSLs, DS. Excuse me, DSLs are D sucking lips." So he asked her, what she know how to do with them. Basically, he asked her what that mouth do. So she said, if he drop another roll, a knot, then he can find out. And so he does, and she pushes the chair out of the view of the cameras and proceeds to show him what that mouth did. Now, she pulls it out, and I'm thinking that this scene, the scene with Uncle Clifford, it took me 5 times to watch it to figure out or to actually see the thing in the guy's hand when they showed Uncle Clifford. But I believe they're using the dildo as a prop and not actually showing these people's man parts. Because in each scene, the thing looks the same. But anyway, that's how the show begins, and then it's off to the theme music. Hey y'all, so we pick back up, and the girls are in the dressing room. They playing Where Them Dollars At? Hey, where the dollars at? Gangsta Boo for y'all. And we see Roulette whispering some of the other dancers with bags of money. Roulette talking cash shit about, all this money she done got or whatever. Then the divine, as Whisper would say, brought her all that money, answered her question, and really did come through and bring her all that money. Then we see Mercedes come in with the scowl on her face, and she got a little bag of money. Roulette decides to tell her, Sadie, I see that bag is half full. It ain't half empty. And she says that Roulette says, I'm real optimistic out this big. And Mercedes tells her, mind the business that pays you. She got an attitude because, I mean, it's like a big clear trash bag full of money that Roulette and Whisper and some of the other dancers have. And like I said, Mercedes got like a little market bag of money. So we see her leave. We see Mercedes leave the club, and she go and pull up to her gym. We see somebody packing up their space. They went out. They went out of business. So she goes in her gym and she FaceTimes with the coach. Now they got a new actor playing coach instead of the guy that played him in season 1. Because as a matter of fact, the one who played coach in season 1, he went on to star in the TV show Queens, which got canceled. And so they got this new older looking guy playing coach. Because the other guy, he was a very young looking type guy. So Mercedes FaceTimes with coach, and she decides that things are looking bleak, that shoulder hurting and all that stuff. So she gonna go ahead and take him up on the offer that he gave her last season, which was he can put her up in not an apartment, but like a condo or whatever. give her a weekly allowance of like 10 racks, and long as he could come and do what he please whenever he feel like he want to come by and do what he please. And this is taking place in, I believe, Memphis, Tennessee. And she says, you just gotta get the okay from your wife. I gotta hear your wife say that it's okay for this, for us to have this kind of relationship or whatever, this deal. Okay, y'all. So next up, we see a SUV pull up to a lot full of cars. Window rolls down. It's Terica driving this SUV. A servant from the church comes up to her and asks her how can she help her. And Terica asks for 2 boxes. The servant's like, "Well, we only give out 1 box." She says she picking up an extra box for her neighbor. She's trying to get boxes for her and her neighbor. She calls over Patrice to okay the 2 boxes. Terica's like, "No, no, no. It's okay. It's okay. You don't have to call her over here." When Patrice gets to the car and looks in and see who's in the car, she sends the servant for the church away and asks Terica, what is she doing? And I know it's a thing of you underage driving, number one. And number two, why do you need 2 boxes? Like y'all got money. So she asks Terica where Shell is. And Terica's like, she's still asleep. And Patrice looks at her like at 3 in the afternoon, and Terica said, yeah. And so Patrice looks at her and said, you look just like Mercedes when you lie. So she know Terica lying about whatever's going on at home with Shell or whatever. And also meant to mention that Terica did speak to Patrice and call her grandma. So she knows who Patrice is and all that stuff like that, obviously. So after that, Patrice decides to just tell the people to bring 4 boxes, load their car up with 4 boxes instead of just the 1 box. But she knows something's going on. She just doesn't know quite what's going on at home. But she knows it's something. Little Murder and crew are stopping at some little gas station convenience store, picking up some stuff. Mercedes. We see the freaking cashier at the gas station. She's so nervous and scared of black folks. And, Lord Murder got the scarf tied around his face because we in the midst of COVID. You wearing a mask every time you go into a store. This wench got the buttons under the counter, and she ready to press the red button for police. They ain't doing nothing. Lord Murder, I think it was Teak was like, uh, Lil Murder told Teak to pick up whatever he want out the store, whatever. They just grabbing stuff. Lil Murder coming up to the cash wrap, and as he coming up, he can look in the girl's eyes and see that she terrified, and he don't know that she about to press the button, but he can see that she's terrified of black folk. And then we see Keyshawn come out of the bathroom or whatever, and the girl kind of like exhale just a little. Lil Murder asks for a postcard, and we see Blue knock on the window to the store and tell them to come on outside so they can take these photos. And the camera he had looked like one of them little the new age Polaroid disposable cameras or whatever. They go outside. Of course, they flicking it up, and they playing that song Pose, Photo, Pose. It's a rap song. I don't know who sing it, so don't even ask. But they post, they doing that or whatever, taking the photos and stuff like that. And then Keyshawn has learned their little game, their killer game. She winks. Lil Murder falls out like he's dead or whatever, plays dead or whatever. And they get to laughing. And then the scene switch. We go see Uncle Clifford at the Pynk. They sitting outside in the office or whatever. And he's scrolling and he's seeing the photos that they uploading from the tour or whatever. Uncle Clifford a little salty about this tour and not being in contact with Lil Murder. He's still in love. He hurt. He all like Keyshawn looking like she having a whole lot of fun on this dirty heifer tour. Dirty heifer. This dirty dozen tour with Lil Murder and them. And he's saying it like he don't even know who Lil Murder is. So he gonna say with this Lil Murder character or whatever. And Haley is like, Haley comes in and says something about their tour or whatever. about them not stopping there on their tour. And he said, I don't even, Clifford is like, I don't even want crooked heifer by in my club no more. He wondered how she got out of her slave chains. He's a shady somebody, I tell you. So Haley goes into this talk about people getting those, the checks and PPP loans and all that kind of stuff. People getting money now from the government and the checks, the PPP loans. And she trying to make a way for them to come in the club and spend their checks in the club with them or whatever. And Uncle Clifford is going on and on about Mercedes being hurt, and Autumn was like, "We need a new headliner." And Uncle Clifford basically lets her know, like, it's your fault that Mercedes got hurt. Like, and in the midst of this conversation, he negotiates a new split with Autumn slash Haley. He says it's 85% her fault, 15% his. That that Sadie's fell off the pole, and that he started the fire was started and burnt up all his chicken that he had in there or whatever, because it was a fire on that opening night. He said the club wasn't ready, Mercedes wasn't ready, nothing was really ready to open. And so he negotiates a new deal with Autumn, because he was like, it's 85% your fault, 15% mine, because I left your ass here in charge when I shouldn't have. So they negotiate a new term and they make it 69%. Haley, and the other 21%. I mean, the other 31% is is Haley, Autumn, or whatever. So did I get my math right? Let me see if my math is mathy. 100 minus 69 is the 1 go over 7 plus 2 is 9. So I'm like 31%. I was right. My math is mathy. I'm, pause for the cause. I just want to let y'all know a little something. I was in something called Gifted and Talented in elementary school. And my teacher, Miss Singleton, I wonder if she's still alive. She was the teacher for the gifted and talented kids, which means you were very smart at math and reading. And one time we had this math bee where she was giving us problems, and it was like algebra stuff, like, with the brackets and all that kind of stuff. And you had to stand in front of her and give the answer without being able to go to the chalkboard and write it down and figure it out. You had to do it all up here. And I won. I came in first place. Your girl's smart. Well, I was smart at math then, but we ain't even gonna go there. That's another story for another day. So, Autumn decides to make Whisper and Roulette the headliners until Mercedes gets better. Uncle Clifford puts up a small protest, but then lets it go and says because she needs to heal. But if Mercedes asks whose idea it was yours. You're not gonna put me in that. And then they get to talking about they need a DJ as well. And Autumn says, well, let's just make Big Bone the DJ, because Big Bone is behind the bar playing some music or whatever. And she played a song called Thermometer by Skinny Pimp. And Uncle Clifford started like rocking to it a little bit or whatever. So Haley's like, you can make her the DJ. And he was like, hell no. And she said Haley's like, she do just as good as Big L with the damn aux cord and your playlist and all that kind of stuff. Like, she could do it. And she said she just played something that you were just bobbing your head to just a second ago or whatever. So Uncle Cliff is like, okay, she could be the new DJ for the time being. But we all know Big Bone can't stay on task. So let's see how this gonna work out. So we go to a scene where Patrice Woodbine's old pastor is giving a speech, and at the annual Black Pastors Chicken Dinner. They having it outside of his church. And he's introducing the interim mayor, Wayne Kyle. Wayne Kyle gets up there and makes this whole little speech or whatever. And then pandering to the black pastors. You know how the politicians do. The Pynk, this show is more about everything than just seeing people shaking their butts in the strip club and how they make their money. They are showing us how these politicians go and pander to these black churches and get the black churches to get their congregations to vote for them and vote for a bunch of bullshit. So anyway, dang, I said church and bullshit all in the same sentence. I am a believer, but I'm calling a spade a spade. So we see Patrice Woodbine is also there at this event, sitting at a table by herself. And once her old, I can't remember his name, but once her old pastor gets back up on the podium after Kyle is finished speaking, he says that he's going to go to his church and tell his whole congregation to vote for Kyle, for Wayne Kyle as mayor or whatever. The chair leaned up to too far to the left and I almost fell. If y'all didn't catch that just now. But yeah, he says that he's gonna get his whole church to vote for Wayne Kyle. Patrice Woodbine stands up and goes up to him and stands in front of him and turns to the people and basically says, like, why would you do that? Like, he full of shit. Y'all gonna get, because she makes mention of before she gets up, she makes mention of the fact that before she gets up and before Kyle gets off the podium, they bring up the article that she brought up that the people in the town got to vote to put that daggone casino in the city or whatever, right? So, because she got that on the docket or whatever. So, when she goes up to the old pastor, she basically, in turns to the rest of the pastors that are there in attendance, she basically lets them know the truth. Like, I'm not telling my people to go and vote to replace this town with Sodom and Gomorrah. Which is what most pastors would call a place where you can go and gamble and do all that kind of stuff. But basically, she's like who you think they're gonna get to work at this casino? Who you think gonna get pushed out because of income and stuff like that? Because they don't have no money. It's the black folks. You gonna get these people to vote for him for mayor, so he can put a casino down here. The casino not gonna get them no jobs because they're gonna tell them that they can't read. And she not lying, because that's the kind of stuff that they do. You're not qualified because you don't read well enough. You don't count good enough. I mean, of course they use different terms, but that's what's going to happen, and it's going to push them out. It's gentrifying the city of Chucalissa or whatever. You know what? I am but 2 seconds off Patrice Woodbine ass for what she pulled and what she did to fucking Mercedes. But I can say when she right, and she was very much right about this whole deal with the casino and all that kind of stuff and how they gonna push them black folks out. Hey, the gang then pulled up in Nolans, y'all. Cause who do we see rocking the stage and the mic? Big Frida. You already know. Girl down. I don't know if I sounded like her, but I tried. Oh wow. So anyway, we see her and we see a dancer behind her shaking their butts. We never see their face, so I'm going to assume that for this show, she brought along Tootie Toots, who's been with her since the beginning, dancing with her or whatever. And then the scene goes to backstage. We see Lord Murder and Keyshawn and them back there. Keyshawn is overhyped about some fucking chocolate covered strawberries. I guess she never had none, or I don't know. But she looking like she real new to chocolate covered strawberries. And to me, that is the countryest ish. You know what I'm saying? Like, girl, chocolate covered strawberries. So they doing that and they taking pictures and snapping it up or whatever. Rome gets this nice photo of Mercedes. I keep wanting to say Mercedes. Gets this nice photo of Keyshawn and Lord Murder and goes to posting it online. And Keyshawn looks at the picture and he says, "Is it okay that I post this or whatever?" After he already posted, you want me to take it down? She said, "No, it should be fine," but you can see she's scared because she thinking like Dirk gonna think that it's something going on with her and Lord Murder. Because of course she not gonna tell Dirk that Lord Murder really in love with Uncle Clifford. Because that's gonna be another thing for Dirk to have to start some bullshit. You know what I'm saying? It might potentially fuck up, Lord Murder's rise. Because We gotta be honest. The rap game is not kind to people of the LGBTQIA community. So she doing what she can do to make her money and also protect Lil Murder in the process too. Champagne, campaign, champagne, campaign. Ah, champagne, campaign. Never going broke again. Lil Murder is out there doing it. Big Freedia introduces him. In Mississippi, they come out. She got this pretty ass, real rich oxblood red fur on, like fur contraption with her little outfit or whatever. And Lil Murder singing that song, the new song, Champagne Campaign. He and in the lyrics you hear him say he never going broke again. The murder gang is out here in their red and all that kind of stuff like that. He also saying that the lockdown was a way to keep the niggas in the house, but now we about to be outside. We outside or whatever. And they show that they leave New Orleans and we see a map and they've gone. The scene ends with them in Little Rock, Arkansas, and Lord Murder saying next week is week 2 of the tour, and we're gonna be in Memphis. And then we see a car on the road, and it is Mercedes pulling up to the condo that the coach got her in Memphis. Okay, so Mercedes, as I said, she's pulling up to the condo that the coach has gotten her as per their contract. Before she can get out of the car, she gets a phone call from Terica asking can she come back to asking when the classes are starting back up. Mercedes lets her know show not letting you come back. We see Terica look over at Show on the couch. She's either sick or obviously passed out drunk or something. She's something, and she said I bet I can convince her. So Mercedes is like, I'm working on it, like real hard. That's what I'm doing right now, working on it. Because Terica asked her what she was doing. So she told Terica she'll call her back later. A woman comes out and swabs Mercedes' nose before she lets her come in the building. So Mercedes gets up into the condo, and that shit is fucking bad. View of the whole city, like panoramic view. I see a circle staircase, a spiral staircase in there somewhere. And Mercedes is looking real good in this red dress too, y'all. And her makeup and these gold platform heels. She looked real nice. She pulls out her phone. She starts to try to do a video for Instagram. And then she caught herself like, God damn it, I'm starting to act like that damn Mississippi slash Keyshawn. And then enters Farrah. Farrah walks in and she is the coach's wife. Um, she speaks, her and Mercedes speak. Mercedes try to reach out and shake her hand. Farrah gives her a nasty look and doesn't want to shake her hand. So the coach walks out or whatever, and he said, you know, I know the pandemic didn't treat me right. Mercedes lets him know, look, you look fine. It's just, it's different seeing you in regular lighting versus the club lights or whatever. So, like I said, they got a new actor playing coach. It's not the same dark skinned guy from before. And plus, this man is older. They pull out the contract, and Farrah tells her which line, which pages she needs to sign on, and also that she needs to sign these NDAs or whatever. And she like basically like okay, she great, gets to sign it. So, Lil Murder and the gang, they all in Memphis at this point. So they in Memphis at the same time as Mercedes, I'm guessing. But of course, they don't run into each other. Um, we see Wody, Teak, and Rome sitting at the bar having some drinks, and some song is playing in the background or whatever. I don't know if it's a Lil Murder song or not, but the song is playing. And we see Wody fucking taking the hand sanitizer, rubbing it in his hands like this, and doing it all over his face like a fucking mask. And Teak is like, I know that can't be right. And Wody says, well, I ain't had that Rona yet. And this is proof positive. Like, they taking this straight from the crazy shit people was doing, thinking it was going to help them stay clear of the Rona or whatever. So Teak notices Pico, and Pico is the name of the guy who Lil Murder beat up in season 1, on Mercedes' last dance night, and Teak looking at him like, when he asked Wody, like, when did Pico start rocking blue and gold, which is another gang? And Pico walks in like he's I'm guessing he's now the leader of the blue and gold gang, whatever they are. Because remember, in the first episode, he was sitting in the back seat while the grimy dude was sitting in the front passenger and somebody else was driving. And he walked in, and they walking behind him in this bar. They must be following Law Murder at every appearance he gonna be at or something like that. Cause why the hell did y'all have to, what y'all need to leave Chuckalisa to come to Memphis for, other than to try to start some shit with Law Murder? But like I said, Big T noticed them, asked Woody what the hell, like why he rocking that blue and gold, and Woody is like, uh, ever since him and Murder got into that little altercation, and Teak like, um altercation, what Murder pluck him for? And he said, I don't, Woody says, I don't know, whatever that gang, I'll stay out of that gang shit that y'all be having going on. Because remember, Woody don't know what happened between Murder and Lil T. But Woody don't know what happened between Murder and Pico. But we all know it was because Pico tried Murder about him being gay and being in love with Uncle Clifford or whatever. And he trying to protect his image. So, T take notice or whatever. When they get back to drinking. So Pico approaches Big Teak, Wody, and Rome. And he says, Teak, you got out? And because Teak already know that Pico and Murder ain't been friends no more, and he wearing a different color, which means he in a different gang, Teak ain't for his bullshit. So Teak stands up and looks at him like, what's up? Like ready to fight or whatever. Woody like, no, 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 no. Ain't gonna be none of that. It's all peaceful over here. Roman's like, yeah, we got to, it's time for your boy to come out. The crowd getting restless. And we ain't on no fighting or no violent shit tonight. It's all about this performance. So, um, Woody, Teak and Rome go find Lil Murder. See what's taking him so long to come out. And Wody hugs Pico and like ain't no beef. He said something about the last 2 years, and he gives Wody and Pico hug each other or whatever. Like they cool. It ain't no beef between them two or whatever. Cause Woody don't really know what happened. He just know that them two not together, and that Pico left the gang and went to join another gang. And so as they standing at the bar, Wody walked off, and no, Wody didn't walk off. Wody is still there. Yeah, Wody walked off with it was Wody who walked off after Teak walked off, and after he hugged uh Pico. Pico looks to Rome and asks him, "So you managing Murder now?" And Rome is like, "No, I'm managing the reason why everybody's showing up to come see Lil Murder. That's what I'm managing." So Pete fishing for information to figure out what Lil Murder into, how much money he getting or whatever. Basically, that's what he doing. He fishing. So Pete homeboy, grimy dude says, well, whatever it is, Lil Murder got that shit popping, whatever. That bitch is immaculate. She pretty. And Pete like, that ain't Lil Murder, bitch. And he says, the grimy dude said, yes, it is, and they breaking that door in. They getting that dough. And Peak says, well, when he drop his next single, Trade Tales, you gonna owe me a couple of blue hundreds. And when he says that, Rome gives him a look like, the fuck he mean by Trade Tales? So he's slowly but surely letting it out that Lil Murder's gay. So we pick back up with Mercedes, Coach, and his wife Farrah in the condo. Mercedes, Farrah is sitting there giving Mercedes the side eye, basically. And Mercedes notices these pictures on the walls, says how nice they are. She likes them, and the coach says, "Oh yeah, Farrah took them back when she used to play with photography. It was a like basically writing it off as a hobby." Farrah was like, "I did. It was more." Farrah is letting us know basically it was more than a hobby. So Mercedes gets up and goes into detail what she likes about this one particular photo that is taken from a different angle that we don't normally see. We mostly see photos where we have to look up at a man, but this photo is taken where we looking down at him and it captures him in a softer form than we normally see. And basically she um gets Farrah's guard down a little by like excuse me by like coming to her defense as coach tries to downplay her photography or whatever and what she used to do professionally. So then coach gets a phone call and he leaves the room to take the phone call from one of his players. So that leaves Farrah and Mercedes staring, sitting across from each other, looking at each other. And Farrah comes out and says, "You know, this is my first time too," or whatever. And Mercedes was like, "Oh, so you don't do this all the time?" And Farrah lets her know, like, "This is my first time. Like, he had other hoes, but none of them ever asked for my permission before, and none of them ever wanted to see me, and get it from my mouth that I approve of, basically." And Mercedes like, "Listen, I ain't no hoe, and I do have some integrity about myself, and if you had said no to this, I wouldn't have agreed to do it or whatever." So Farrah runs down that Mercedes is getting paid the 10 racks a weekend to be with Coach or whatever. And she said, "And that's more than I get because I got to be under him during the week. All week long, I got to be under him, and I ain't getting paid shit. So, you want to trade places with me?" Mercedes like, "No, or no, or whatever." So the coach finishes up with his phone call, comes back to the room. And Farrah's like, "Well, let me leave your bed or whatever." Basically, like she gonna leave the condo. And he said, "No, no, 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 not too fast. I want you to see the Mercedes experience." He wants Farrah to see what's intriguing and why he always intriguing to him about Mercedes and why he always wants, see her or whatever, see her dance and do what she do. So Mercedes, pulls up a song on her phone, plugs it in, and starts the dancing, doing her routine. You can see a grimace in her face that her shoulder is still bothering her, still hurting. But she doing her best with her little dance or whatever. Because they definitely have a pole in this condo. So she doing her dance. And then some daggone weird animation type kitty theme song comes on. And she goes and she presses the button to turn it off and turn the music back on. And we see that's the song for Terica. She thinking Terica just calling her to be calling or whatever. So after she checks the phone and sees that it's Terica, she declines the call and turns the music back on, and it's actually that song by Tiana. Just how you want it. It's a real sexy, sensual song. So she goes back over to the coach and she does some stuff at the bottom of the pole. Then she gets off and she straddles the coach. And you can see that Farrah is obviously turned on a little by Mercedes. Okay, y'all. So as I was saying, Mercedes straddles the coach, starts kissing on him, and all that kind of stuff. And they flash back to the wife. I said she turned on, and she's very turned on, and she's taking her shirt off, and she's just sitting there with her boobs out. And I keep looking at her. I can't think of what it was, but I seen this lady, this actress, on something before, but I just can't place what I seen her on. So then we get to a scene with Andre sitting in his godfather's house, gets a phone call from his wife. She's outside of the hospital in the ambulance, like out by the ambulance, talking to Andre, saying that she talked to her father. Her father's a lawyer, and saying that she talked to her dad about getting him a job at his firm. And Andre like, okay, but I don't. He really don't want to work for her father. And she asks him, well, when you gonna come back home? And he's stalling and telling her that once they do the reading of the will, they haven't read it yet. They push the reading of the will back because something's going on with one of Tydell's sons or whatever. And then we see someone come peeking out and calls Andre's wife back in because somebody is coding, which means they coding mean like the alarms are going off because the person is about to be unalive. And she hangs up with him, tells him she loves him or whatever. And then we get back to Mercedes and what the coach got going on. And all three of them are on the couch making out, kissing. He's kissing Mercedes. His wife is on his back, rubbing up and down his back and all that kind of stuff. Looks like a threesome was about to take place. And that's when that fucking music come back on. And it's talking about gummy bears and stuff, and it's Terica. So this time, Mercedes decides to answer it. And when she answers it, she said, Terica, what? I told you I was working. And it's like, no, this not Terica, it's Jesse. Jesse is the cop that Mercedes took his license. I mean, his whole wallet in season 1, episode 1. So, he tells her, she's like, what you doing with Terica phone? And he's like, well, I pulled her over for underage driving. And I don't jail, and the jail cell is not a place for a little girl. And I'm calling to let you know so you can come and get her before I have to take her in there. So she's like, okay. And she tells the coach, basically, she got to leave. She has to tell him that. And she gets up to go and see about Terica. Just wanted to mention real quick that Jesse did inform Mercedes that Terica was driving because the owner of the car was in the back seat, passed out, reeking of liquor or whatever. And he really don't want to. He did a good thing. He don't want to take Terica into the damn jailhouse. She a kid, like he said. That's no place for a woman, let alone a child. So then we pick up with the scene picks up with Lord Murder coming out from the dressing room and being accosted by a bunch of women fans or whatever. So Murder is coming from inside the club rather. And the women accost him, and then we flash to Keyshawn. She in the back of the hearse making a going live on Instagram, talking about how Lord Murder just smashed the show, killed it, and all that kind of stuff. Her and Woody inside the car, in the hearse, in the driver's part. And then we see some other girl come. She must be the baddest bee in that town because she bumps all the other women out the way to be all up on Lord Murder or whatever. So this girl bumps into another woman and the other woman says bitch or whatever. And the girl was like, fuck. Like she on her way, she trying to steal Lord Murder. So she yelling, murder, murder. And we see Pico pull up like, hey, what's up? And she was like, nigga, is your name Lord Murder? And he like, bitch. And proceeds to say something else. And we see Teak out of nowhere like, listen, ain't gonna be no disrespecting of the ladies or whatever. And of course, Pico got some slick shit to say about Lord Murder because he's going to keep on dropping or dry snitching about Lord Murder's sexuality. He trying to out him or whatever. And he said something slick and he called the woman another bitch. And that's when Teak swings on him. But he ends up on top of Big Teak, beating Big Teak ass. Like, what the fuck? But Big Teak flips him over and gets on him, start pounding on him a little something too. And Mississippi and Rome and Wody in the car, just looking. And then somebody pulls out a gun and starts to shoot. The funny thing about this, they played the perfect song for this scene. They played Crime Mob Knuck If You Buck. And you know that shit get the party hype and get crunk. But it's also a fight starting song too. But so somebody ring off some shots. Lil Murder and them drag Big Teak into the fucking car. It looked like he been stabbed or shot. Can't really tell. He's bleeding, and they talking about pull off, pull off. And so it looks like Keyshawn is the one driving the hearse at this point. So as they pulling off from that damn club, Rome says, "Looks like your security gonna need some security too," because he realizes that Pico was giving Teak, working Teak over too. He was giving Teak just as much as Teak was giving him or whatever. So then we pick up with the girls in the club at the Pynk. They watching Keyshawn's live talking about how she always going live, and they see the commotion, they see the fight starts or whatever, and then they flash to the bathroom, and we see some panties come down, and the seat of the panties, it's it looks like it was a panty liner full of blood. It's roulette that came on her period. She like shit. So in walks Whisper, gives her a tampon. Whisper talking to her saying like, so where are you from? You never told me. And Roulette says, I'm from hell. And Whisper says something about, with all them being in the club, their cycles bound to, sync up with each other and stuff like that. And she said, you from hell? Ooh, maybe you really are. She said, eyes from heaven. And she tells Roulette, you might just be from hell because I see the little darkness in you. And Roulette takes it the wrong way because I know she thinking this white bitch just talking about my skin, my race, but she really did. She talking about her aura, like she can see that it was a lot of darkness in Roulette's life, and she lets her know that, like, and she also tells her, we all need a little bit of hell in us, to survive this life and stuff like that. Because she said, I'm from heaven, and my plans took a detour, and I got lost, and then I took a listen to the wind and just started following the wind, and then she put some powder on her hand and offers it up to Roulette to sniff it. And Roulette sniffs it. She puts her middle finger up and goes, I said, oh Lord. So we hear Uncle Clifford asking Roulette and Whisper, are they ready to go get on stage or whatever? They said, we ready. They walk off, and then we see Uncle Clifford giving the girls some new rules, talking about you got to make sure you wear a mask. That's a new rule in the club. Protect yourself against the corona. You got to be corona couture like me. You got his little hot pink outfit on, and the outfit she got her hot pink outfit on, and the outfit is thonged with a pink wig and everything, real cute. And we see the house mother is Uncle Clifford homegirl that was there when she had the party. When they threw her the surprise party in the last episode. And it looks like it's the homegirl that got into an altercation with Uncle Clifford where they was arguing a little bit about her chosen path in life, which is hoeing. And Uncle Clifford don't really care for her out there tricking and stuff like that or whatever. So Uncle Clifford gives the girls the rules about wearing a mask. And then that's when one of the girls, she sneezed. Uncle Clifford like, what the fuck? You didn't got your tummy pulled, so she went and had lipo on her stomach, but you coming in here coughing. And the house mother, she sprays what she thinks is Lysol. Ends up being some freaking hairspray, oil sheen. And the girl says she alright, she just got allergies. Uncle Clifford was like, you better go get some Claritin and get up out his MFing face. So he goes out and goes get ready to go out on stage to get the night started. We see Big Bone in the DJ booth playing certain music, and then appears Uncle Clifford in the in between the curtains, shaking his little groove thing, and he come through, do a little walk and shake or whatever. And speaking of that, I saw Nico, who plays Uncle Clifford, and Brandy, who plays Mercedes. They were on an episode of the Wendy Williams show earlier last week, talking about the show. And Sherry Shepard made mention that I didn't know that Nico is a dancer as well, so he can actually dance. He's done choreography and stuff like that as well. But yeah, Uncle Clifford, she out there shaking. It's so odd. Somebody else's reviews I watched, they said the same thing. It's odd saying Uncle Clifford and referring to Uncle Clifford as a she, because it's like you saying uncle, but you calling the person a she. as their pronoun or whatever. It's hard to keep interchanging the two a little bit, but as you can see, I'm trying. But yeah, Uncle Clifford shakes his little thing, shake her little thing, or whatever, real cute, and moseys off the stage, and we see Whisper come out, and Whisper do some stuff on the pole real quick, and then Roulette is up on the thing. It looks like a jungle gym type contraption that she's up on, flipping and all that kind of stuff, and they do their thing. So, like I said, Uncle Clifford does his little ditty dance. Girl, she spins on the pole, do a split, everything, and walks off. Then we see Big L standing outside doing security. And who pulls up but Duffy? Duffy is Gidget's boyfriend from season 1. He pulled up with a freaking tractor trailer or whatever. And him and him and Big L go and walk off to the side. Speaking of Big, is it Big L or Big L? Like AL instead of just the letter L. Tell me, y'all. And what's up with him with this cane? Like, he didn't have a cane in season 1 at all. He giving more pimpy vibes this season than he did season 1. He was he dressed the same, but he didn't have a cane. He didn't have that hat like that, and his persona wasn't exuding pimp in season 1. But this season, that's what it's looking like. So they go off to the side, and then we get back inside the club, and Uncle Clifford introduces Whisper. Whisper comes out to the Whisper song, which is very appropriate. And then when it comes time for her to introduce Roulette, Big Bone plays a song that's saying Roulette. It's a song I've never heard before, but the song Roulette starts to play, and then we just see them two just kill the pole, and they just making a thunderstorm on them with the money or whatever. They get in all the racks. Then we see a scene back to Duffy and Big L. And Duffy is telling Big L that, he gonna make it right. He gonna apologize because he feel like it's not his fault that Gidget's mama OD'd, I'm guessing, on whatever it was that he gave her. He thought he was doing the right thing by Gidget, by giving her mother what she wanted or whatever. And he said he gonna propose to Gidget and take her out this life, and he gonna give her a normal life, with the white picket fence, a house, kids, normal life. Big Al was like, she don't want no fucking normal life. She's a stripper. And as he's saying that, in walks Whisper and Roulette. And Duffy look at Roulette, give Roulette googly eyes. And he said something like, that what he called it, dispatch pocket that she did was real nice. And she was like, nigga, I ain't no bust down. And Whisper explains to her, no, girl, that's the name of the move you did. When you pick your leg up and you do this or whatever. She said, oh, I don't know the correct names for the moves I do. I just do them or whatever. And so Uncle Clifford comes over the radio and tells X Big L where the hell where he is, because his break was over 15 years ago or whatever. So Big L walks off. Whisper said, I'm going to join Big L. So we see Roulette walk up to Duffy, gets up in his face, and pulls out a fucking switchblade, tell him he got something in his teeth, and she picks whatever it is out of his teeth with the damn switchblade. Weird as fuck. But they also mentioned before she walked off, Whisper said to Duffy that the only mistake, it ain't nothing wrong with sexing a stripper. The problem is when you try to wife a stripper. After he was just telling Big L that he was going to try to wife Gidget. And she I think she asked him, has he ever been with a stripper? He lied and say no, and Big L said yes, as he's lying and saying no or whatever. And that all happens before Big L and Whisper walk off. Okay, so we pick up with Sadie's hosing down Shell while Shell is in the tub. Shell looks at her, calls her a hoe. And Mercedes is like, how you gonna call me a hoe? And you the bitch that had my baby in the driver's seat while you passed out drunk in the back seat. Or whatever. Like, how can you judge me and call me certain things? So Shell was like, basically lets her know, like, because I had to raise your child after Cortez died. Cortez is Terica's father. And Mercedes says, it's not my fault that my breasts, hips, and butt came in when I was 15. And Shell basically says, and your breasts and your hips didn't lie. Your mouth did. You the one who told Cortez you was 18 when you was only 15, and you ruined my life when you had that baby or whatever. And Mercedes was like, well, I tried to take my baby back, but every time I asked you and pleaded with you, you said no. And Show lets her know, well, it wasn't me saying no, it was Cortez. Even with his last breath, he told me, begged and pleaded me to never give Terica back to you, that I was going to look after her. And here I am being loyal to a dead man who wasn't loyal to me when he was walking this earth. And it's hard for me to look in the face of his mistake every day, but I do it. And this whole time they having this conversation, Terica is outside of the bathroom listening in on this conversation. It's so sad that she had to hear that or whatever. And then we go back to the Pynk and we see Toy, and somebody else talking. And they talking about Big Bone, how the hell she go from bartender to DJ that fast. And what is she doing? I told you Big Bone cannot stay on task. She playing music, but she's also twerking and getting people to throw her money too. Okay, so there's this dancer dancing with some VIPs in the VIP section, and he hounding her about what more can he get out of her. And he makes mention of the fact that his homeboy told him somebody got with a girl with the dick sucking lips and got some head from one of the dancers. And this particular dancer is unaware and is like, hell no, like ain't no hoeing up in the paint. That's Uncle Clifford rule number 1 million, whatever, whatever, or whatever. And she walks off and leaves him sitting in the VIP. Then we see Autumn and Uncle Clifford talking. Autumn gets a text message from Andre asking if Uncle Clifford her and Uncle Clifford are considering Corbin's deal to buy the paint. And she mentions the text to Uncle Clifford. Uncle Clifford said, "Hell no," and she says, if they offer the right amount of money, yeah, if they offer 10 mil, then we can do it or whatever." And Uncle Clifford like looking like, so you really would sell the paint? And Autumn says, "Shit, everything can be sold, Clifford." Or whatever. And so Clifford was like, well, because I stand to get 3.1 mil out of that deal. And she said, oh, so you do know your math. So we see Corbin and Andre having a conversation. Corbin asks Andre, do he really think that the people that want to bring the casino, do you think the Promised Land, that's what they was called, do you think the Promised Land group really would pay $10 million for the land that the Pynk is on? And Andre like, they probably will. We just don't know. We can ask. And so Corbin was like, well, you got to convince your girl to sell the Pynk so we can get that land, so we can get that 10 mil or whatever. Andre like, mm-hmm. And they make mention of the thing that the people got to vote for, whatever. And so that's when Andre says, like, because if Haley sells that land to Promised Land, if Haley sells the Pynk to the Promised Land, that's going to make her the most powerful person in the city outside of the mayor, which is Corbin's brother, Wayne Kyle. And Corbin like, yeah, because ain't nobody stupid enough to run against him for mayor. And Andre says, shit, I would. And Corbin is like, well, how? Like, you don't have the backing, and you're not even from Chuckalissa. And that's when Andre had to let him know. I'm born and raised in Chuckalissa. Much to my wife's chagrin, I got land in Chuckalissa. I voted, and I still got my voter's card for Chuckalissa because I actually voted for the first black man, which was his godfather. And Corbin mentions the godfather, and Corbin calls him Clydell. Now, all this time, I've been saying Tydell. I thought it was Tydal Ruffin, not Clydal Ruffin. Y'all let me know if I'm saying it wrong. Cause what did y'all hear, Tydal or Clydal? Y'all let me know. So Corbin lets on at the Andre lets him know, like, I vote and I got land here and all that kind of stuff like that. Corbin like, yeah, you might stand a chance against my brother if I back you. So looks like what my prediction in the first episode was is that Andre gonna run for mayor, and he actually is looking like he actually gonna do it with the help of Corbin. Child, the groupies is on murder. He trying to walk to his hotel room. They all over the place. He goes to Keyshawn's door. She opens it. She kisses him to sell the fact that them two are together. They shut the door. He said, "Damn, your kiss was sloppy and wet." And she said, "But I saved you from the groupies, basically." So she asked him. He sits on the floor. She straddles him. Well, not straddle him. She gets behind him, and he's between her legs. And she gets her hair food, her little hair product that was sponsored by the people that Rome got for her. And she tells Lord Murder, like, I don't know if your scalp is like dry from the bleach or it's like a sign of stress or whatever, because you still upset and you love sick about Uncle Clifford. So we see Lord Murder with the he got the postcard and he about to write, because he's sending the postcards to Uncle Clifford, we see. And he not writing to her with the right stuff on the postcards. So she tries to give him some advice on what to write on the postcards. And she said, "What's your 27th thought?" And it said, "Nigga, I love you." And she was like, "Nigga, I love you. That's the thought." And he said, "That's the only thought." Like, he really, really is in love. He really is lovesick about what's going on with him and Uncle Clifford. She asks about Big Teak, and I meant to say too that we saw Rome peeking out his door as Lord Murder was going in the room with Keyshawn. Because remember, it's on Rome's mind what Pico keeps saying with the daggers. He keep throwing that Lord Murder sexuality or whatever. So Rome trying to figure it out. But Mississippi and Lord Murder have a nice little moment where she trying to help him write what he needs to write on that daggone postcard to Uncle Clifford. So um, Mississippi Lord Murder says, he handles a situation wrong, and that's why Uncle Clifford is, mad at him. And he asks Keyshawn what she do to make her get kicked out the Pynk and get kicked out of Uncle Clifford Kingdom. And she says, a bitch couldn't believe in fairy tales. Just giving him like a riddle instead of telling him what the real deal was. And then she snatches the postcard out of his hand and jumping around saying she finna mail that postcard. He asking her to give it back. She like, no. She runs to the door to open it. And Teak is at the door asking Murder to go with him to the store. Um, Keyshawn keeps the postcard, doesn't give it back to Lord Murder, and he goes off with Teak. I also meant to mention that in the midst of this conversation, uh, Keyshawn makes sure she lets Lil Murder know that, if you really love Clifford, you got to keep fighting and try to get Uncle Clifford back, because she's not somebody that you come across, and you don't come across that kind of a person, that good of a person, that loving of a person every day. So that's somebody that you got to hold on to. And he takes a mental note of that. And then we pick up with Mercedes still at Shell's house with Terica. And she going through the boxes that Patrice gave them, trying to figure out something to cook Terica something to eat. We see cornflakes, and I think there was some rice in there. And Mercedes like, dang, she ain't giving out no Velveeta, so you gotta at least like make some macaroni and cheese or something like that. So Mercedes tells Terica she trying to fix something. Do she want something to eat? Terica asks her, was what Shell said the truth? And Mercedes is like, oh, you heard that whole conversation? Terica said, yeah. Mercedes said, yes, I was 15, but Cortez didn't know I was 15 because I lied about my age. So Terica asked, did you love him? She said, yeah. She said, well, did he love you? And Mercedes said she doesn't know if he loved her or not. And that, getting pregnant was a mistake, but actually having Terica was never a mistake. And that, she loves Terica. She knew she was hers from the moment she came out wailing or whatever. She knew that was her baby and she loved her. And she asked her, well, how come you didn't keep me and like raise me? And she was like, because I was 15 and my mama said I had to give you up. And so Terica said, but you didn't stay 15. Like, you grew up and you still ain't get me. And Mercedes let her know, like, no, I didn't, because I grew up, I became a stripper, and ain't no judge at family court going to give a stripper back her baby. Because they're going to look down on her for her chosen profession or whatever. And Terica says, it seems like it's always going to be an excuse with you. It's always going to be a reason. Like, basically saying that Mercedes doesn't take accountability for the decisions that she's made in her life. Because Terica we can see that she just really wanted her mother's love and wanted to be raised by her biological mother. And with Shell yelling to Mercedes that she got to look Cortez's mistake in the face every damn day. If she said that in her drunken stupor, who's to say what she's been saying in the house around Terica every day that Terica has overheard or that she's directly said to Terica's face. Sad. And then we get the scene with Lil Murder and Big Teak sitting on the steps of the hotel talking. And they talk about what happened. So apparently somebody was up in Lil Murder's face and tried to do something to Lil Murder when he was younger. I think they stabbed him. And Teak saved his life. Teak beat the person up, almost killed them or something like that. And they sent Teak to the hole. And this happened while they was incarcerated. It sent Teak to the hole. And Teak talks about being in that hole and how it fucks with your mind and everything. But thankfully, Lil Murder got out and was able to be sending him, his raps and letting him know that he still was trying to do the rapping shit. And he thanks Lil Murder for that. Lil Murder thanks him for saving his life because if it wasn't for Teak, he would have died. And Teak said, thank you for helping me out and keep sending me stuff while I was in the hole. Because that shit wasn't easy. It was hard. And basically they just sit there and, have a heart-to-heart with each other. So Teak mentions that he had a disloyal ass nigga like Pico or whatever. So that's why he did what he did to Pico. Went off on him super fast like that. And Murder's like he never was really all the way down like that or whatever. And Teak was like, Murder said he ain't cut from that cloth. And Teak said something, and Murder was like, you a little bit too cut. Like, what are you doing trying to start a war? Like, we don't need a war or whatever. Also, Teak mentions Lil Murder basically hitting Mississippi as far as smashing her. And Lil Murder lets Teak know, like, it ain't going down like that. She like her men. Like I like my Nikes, crispy and white. Super funny moment between them two in the midst of this serious conversation. Alright, y'all. So after Lil Murder and Teak's conversation, we pick up with a church scene. It must be a Holy Ghost night or a revival or something going on in the church. And here come the sheriff, deputy, Jesse, and Wayne Kyle. They come in with a freaking ordinance to shut Patrice Woodbine's church down. She comes, the servant who was helping Terica in the beginning of the episode goes and gets Patrice. And when Patrice comes out, they hit her with the ordinance and tell her she got to shut down because you only can have a certain amount of people inside of the church. You can't have people having church inside right now in the midst of the Panorama Panda Express. And so Patrice says, like, you best be careful who you effing fucking with. Like, I'm a pastor, but she curses at him to let him know she can get gutter. And he better be careful about fucking with her or whatever. So he gives her the ordinance, tell her she got to shut down. So, and walks off. And then we see this scene. They start playing Love and Happiness by Al Green. We see Uncle Clifford sitting in front of his mirror, and you see the postcards all lined up on the mirror. So Lil Murda been sending the postcards to him, and he reads the latest one that they mailed off, and he's smoking. Then we see Big Al and Duffy unloading that trailer, and we see some heels step out of a car. And the person, we see the face, they pan up to the face. It's Roulette. And she said, let me know the next time you want to take me on a ride, baby. So Roulette is dancing and selling puss out of the Pynk. And Duffy and Big L notices her, and she notices them. And they drop one of the boxes, and the box say Oxycontin. So I'm not sure what this going to lead to, if she going to be the new Gidget and messing with Duffy and doing what she need to do to him so she can get that oxy. Because we already know she do drugs after she done sniffed drugs off of Whisper's hand. And it's like they both groups got one up on each other. She sees Duffy and Big L with these drugs, and probably Uncle Clifford does not know they selling the drugs, and they see her tricking. So it's like they both got one up on one another or whatever. So maybe she gonna become part of their thing with the drugs and keep it a secret that Big L is selling drugs and storing drugs in the club, and that's how the episode ends. I hope you guys enjoyed this review or this chat. It's not even a chat. This is a whole conversation because I think this thing gonna be at least 40 minutes long. But tell me what y'all thoughts were. Please answer my questions, y'all. Is it Clydell Ruffin or Tydell Ruffin? Get in the comments and let me know. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to my channel. And don't forget to click that like button to help your girl out, help me grow. And I hope you guys enjoyed this brunch at the Pynk, breakfast at the Pynk episode from the porch. I hope y'all have a wonderful day. Happy Sunday to y'all. And happy Juneteenth for those who are having Juneteenth celebrations and stuff like that. Peace out, y'all. Be easy.